What's up, guys? It's Miki, and welcome back to another episode of Blank Canvas. So, let's just address the elephant in the room, right? Last week, I didn't drop an episode, and I want to tell you guys that I had an episode ready to go and everything, but as I was listening to see, do I really want it? Was it the vibe that I wanted out this week? It wasn't. So, I just didn't release an episode at all. It just felt rushed to me, thrown together just so you guys can have content and you guys can go a week without me and go listen to some of your favorite episodes. We should be probably over 100, if not close to 100 at this point of episodes, because we're 2 years in. So God is good. Thankful for that and thankful for the amount of content. Now, I know most podcasts do like a best of episode, just re-upload and all that. But I didn't even do that, okay? Because as I described in last week's episode, I've been busy moving and packing and just it is a lot. It is a lot going on. But I said just because it's a lot going on in life doesn't mean that I shouldn't, give you guys content, which is why I had an episode planned. But it felt too rushed to me. I wasn't vibing out. So here we are. So we can skip a week, give it a break, and we're back strong this week. So what's up, my BK fam? How are you guys feeling? I love you guys. I miss talking to you guys. I'm going to try to keep this episode kind of short too, because honestly, I'm still really, really busy. But you guys deserve higher quality, intentional content. And so that's what I'm trying to keep out there. First thing that I want to address is y'all already know we are back in football season, baby. And at this point of me recording, the Auburn Tigers are 2-0. Can we give a big round of applause and congratulations to the only team in the state of Alabama that is still 2-0? And you know who's not? You know who's not? You know who took a disrespectful L? That's right. That's the Alabama Crimson Tide took a big, fat, disrespectful L. People want to be like, oh my God, it wasn't like a blowout. That's not what I mean. I mean, these Texas players came into your house, felt highly confident on your field, was dancing all over your field, and beat you without a doubt, without a question, without a, well, if we had an extra second on the clock, we could have won. Psst, you wouldn't have. Or if we could have made it to OT, we could have won. Or if they didn't convert that 2-point conversion, we would have won. It would have still been a game. Psst, you wouldn't have. Like there was no room for doubt, okay? And Alabama lost. And all I gotta say is your girl loved to see it. So we are full-blown black. I'm black. We are full-blown back in college football season. And even though my weeks have been destroyed from getting to enjoy the games like I want to, I'm still pleasantly surprised and very happy with how some of them are turning out. I'm glad I got to catch the end of that Alabama game, the Alabama Texas game. I am very excited because love to see Alabama lose. Love, love, love it. So that's my update so far. Life's still really busy. I apologize for not having that episode. I'm sorry, but not sorry, because there are so many episodes to go listen to, which I am more grateful than anything. And let's jump into this week's episode, guys. So on the episode that I was going to release out last week, it was like a questions episode. I have a list of questions that the BK fam and other people who may haven't decided to join yet, I don't know what the pause is for. Welcome to the BK family. It's lit over here. We're diverse over here, okay? I'm just saying. We're loving, we're non-judgmental over here. And if for some reason we have a slip up where we aren't as loving. All right, so it was a questions episode, and I've had these questions. Some of them are newer, some of them are older that I was trying to save until enough had built up and we could do a full-blown episode of it. So here's where we are. And I'm just going to do the ones that I was going to do last week, but maybe I'll answer them a little better and it'll sound a little less chaotic and rushed. Okay. So the first question that I had was, what is your best dating advice? My best dating advice is I don't date. So I don't listen to me. That's the best dating advice that I can give you. I don't date. Don't listen to me. It's not that I'll never date. I'm just currently not dating. I'm not in the mood. I'm also an introvert. I I just don't really like the whole idea of sitting and talking to strangers and repeating the same questions and doing the same small talk. I hate really mingling with people usually. I'm that much of an introvert. Like I'm not an ambivert. I am deep seated, rooted introvert. If I'm going to mingle with people, they are already my people. I am already accustomed to them, already vibe out. When people ask me, well, how did you get to that stage? It organically built. And so I think that's the thing for me that's kind of annoying about dating. Dating to me feels like a job. It feels like a forced job. It doesn't feel like natural life progression or it being done organically. So I've already talked about on here. I don't know how I'm gonna find my man, y'all, because the things that you're supposed to do just does not sit well with me. And I don't care enough about it to want to change it. If I'm being honest right now, I don't. So yeah, that's the best dating advice I have. Don't listen to me. Listen to somebody who enjoys dating or listen to somebody who may not even enjoy it, but they've had different experiences with it. And maybe they can say, these are the lessons that I've learned from dating. Because your girl is just not the one to listen to. I will also say that if you do enjoy it or if you don't enjoy it, but it's still worth the risk to you right now, I would say date to discover what you like and just always be open and honest. Like, let the people know we're not dating exclusively. So I'm dating you, I'm dating her, I'm dating him, whatever. Okay. Then because that goes for men and women. They should both be honest, right? Also, I would say let the people know when it transitions like, hey, we're not just dating out here dating everybody. We're also dating exclusively now and now it's just me and you and we're building or just be honest about the whole entire process cuz y'all be out here playing with people's feelings and then wonder why we have shows like Snapped and like things like this was a crime of passion because leave people alone. Like we're already emotional creatures out here and it's not just women. Like men are emotional creatures. They just show theirs different ways, right? Like these men, their hormones run on 24-hour cycles. So they're on a bad day, just hold out. They'll probably feel better tomorrow. Women, we're an average of what, 28, 29, and it can go longer. Our stuff is a little different. No excuses to walk around and be bitches and stuff, but I mean, ours is a little different, right? Give us a little grace. And women, we still got to be better. So just communicate because y'all be out here want to be on first 48, not communicating, playing with people's feelings. That's just my opinion. All right. So I don't really know how helpful that was. Probably not that much, but I was honest from the beginning. I don't date. So ask somebody else. Okay. But thanks for sending in that question. Next question. Should I reconnect with a parent who continues to hurt me? I will say that it's up to you. You have to be tired of being tired, or you have to be like, I have enough love and grace to give more. Either route that you take is not wrong. It's just really depends on the person, depends on the circumstance, the situation, and not just the person who wants to attempt to try, but the person you are trying to attempt to reconnect with because they have to put in effort too. If it's a one-way street, you're going to be wasting your time, you're going to get frustrated, and it can change your outlook on trying with other people in your life in general, and you don't want that toxic relationship to taint the way you try with other people or to just taint your imagery of God or anything, because it can lead to that. Because as it's been broken down and explained to me before, if God is our father, right? He is our Abba, meaning father. Then if you have um it's not always super toxic, but if you have an interesting or a dysfunctional relationship with your earthly parents, because it doesn't just have to be your dad, it can be your mom or whatever, or the guardian who raised you, right? Your parental figure. If you have a interesting kind of dysfunctional relationship with them, then it can taint the way that you look at your relationship with God, especially the father aspect. You may see him as Lord, but you may not see him as father. You may see him as king, but you may not see him as father. Or if you do see him as father, you are painting human characteristics onto him from how your parental figures did. And God he's a phenomenal parent. He's so much better than the parents that we're blessed with. Even if you have top tier parents, like I get peace about knowing that I can talk to God about anything and not be cussed out, not be judged, not be yelled at, not be shamed or anything. Like, God is just going to love me. I can repeat myself to God. He's not going to get annoyed. I can share every single dark detail and he's not going to be like, well, how did you do that? I didn't raise you to do, like, none of that is coming. Like, God is going to be himself. He's going to be loving. He's going to be a safe space. I think that's the most important thing that God is for me. Well, I don't know about the most, but definitely top tier quality that's up there about God to me is that he is a safe space. So I can talk to him about anything. I can vent to him about anything, and he's still going to love me. He's still going to choose me, and he's still going to know that I am worthy. So shout out to God for that. So we have to be careful to make sure that when we do have those relationships, we don't paint God in that light because he's so much better. Even if you had the best parents, he's 10 million trillion percent better. Like if I become a parent, I know he's going to be 10 million trillion percent better than me. And I'm grateful because my kids will deserve the absolute best, right? So my advice to that is if you're not tired of try, but maybe pray about it. Ask God, how should you approach this situation? Pray for your heart, pray for their heart. That way it's not, you're also not consistently attempting with people who your heart isn't even fully open, their heart isn't even fully open, and it kind of feels like it's in vain. I would also say, if like therapy, talk to a professional because they can help you see the other person's perspective or help you understand psychologically our bodies function because and this traumatic experience happened to them, and this is why they respond in this kind of way. Is it right? No. But does it make more sense and help you understand them more as a person to possibly open up room for more grace and empathy? Yes. And I'm not saying that therapy is the end all be all because it's not. I think we need a combination of different things. But then the big thing is to try to see the other person's perspective. And then after you see it, if it's still no room for improvement or no changes, let it go. And I'm not saying put a nail in it forever, but your peace is important. If it's reconnecting with a parent is costing you your peace or costing you plenty of problems and drama in your life, then it's not worth it. In that sense, then it's not worth it. All right. So there's that. I hope that helped a little bit. Oh, and also remember there are a multitude of therapies. You don't have to do just talk therapy. There are a lot. Music, dance, nature, so many things. We be here all day. Okay. So just and journal. I would say journal. If you like to journal your process, record videos. It doesn't have to be writing. You can record videos, see the progression of where you are and watch the change in your heart, like by trying to reconnect, or see if it makes you better or worse. And you'll have documentation, whether you write it down or you've recorded yourself on a video, or like me, if you have a podcast and you can hear, okay, I was still hurt in this area and it blinded me from seeing their perspective, or okay, this has been healing me, or trying to reconnect with this person has been making my life worse. You will have evidence to be able to reflect on and know, like, okay, I'm not crazy. I have put in effort. No matter what other people say around me or what people try to convince me of, I know what it is. And you'll have that to back it up. That's just my opinion. All right. I hope that helps. Next question. Should I tell my friend her husband is cheating on her? She's my best friend of 10 plus years. I saw him with another girl at a restaurant while I was on a date as well. I want to, but I'm afraid to lose her. I would honestly say, if it's your best friend of 10 plus years, first of all, it's your best friend. Doesn't even matter how much time. You put them in the category of best friend. Y'all know how I am about that. I ain't just out here calling everybody my friend, and I'm damn sure not out here calling everybody a best friend. Everybody does not get that title. That's a privilege for me. If I call you my best friend, that's a privilege. And vice versa. I would hope it's the same. Like, if you're calling me your best friend, I hope you're not using that like lightly. I hope that, like, I actually bring true value and best friend, top tier quality experiences to your life. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why you wouldn't tell her unless you've had experiences of trying to tell your best friend this stuff before, or not even just this, or things in general before and it didn't work out well. Again, pray on it. And here's what I will say. If you do decide to tell her, your job is to pass on the information, not judge, not convince her to leave, none of that. Your job is to pass on the information and let that person choose what they want to do with it. Whether they stay or go is on them. But you did your job by letting them know the information that you have. Also, be sure, like if you just saw them sitting down at a restaurant, okay, you said you saw them at a restaurant, right? Let me go back and reread. I saw him with another girl at a restaurant while I was on a date. You were on a date, but was he on a date? Was that a business link up? Okay, like what time was your date? Y'all was at night? You know what I'm saying? Because just because you said it was a restaurant, like people date at all times of days now. You got to get it in where you can fit it in your schedule. Like details, context, and everything matters. So make sure you go with the facts, not your assumption. Fact is, I was at this restaurant on a date. Fact is, I saw him with this girl that looks like, because girls, we know detail. We probably got a picture, okay? Like if you didn't get no picture, I hope you remember what the girl looked like, because you need to go with facts, not assumptions. Facts, not feelings in this, because this is a very important thing that can change the trajectory of your friend life. And you just don't want to half-ass with information like this. Because again, going back to crime of passion, don't be out here playing with people's feelings. All right. So remember, your job is to tell the information if you feel like they can handle it or whatever, and let them make the final call. Your job isn't to make the decision for them, it's just to give them the information and let them ride whichever way they want. All right. Next question. I failed my class and I won't graduate on time. I'm highly embarrassed and afraid to tell my family and friends. How should I approach this? First and foremost, I just want to say that the average person takes 6 years. I think it was 6 years last time I checked the statistics. It could be even greater now with everything going on in the world. It takes the average person 6 years to complete a bachelor's degree. They say that you can get it done in 4, but statistically it takes the average person 6 plus. And the reason is because life happens, and the reason is because other stuff is going on. Stuff is expensive. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to feel bad for failing a class. As top tier as I was in school, I made F's, I made D's at different times. Maybe it was on a test, maybe it was on an exam. During my college experience, I graduated with my bachelor's in 4, but also I had to take summer classes. They don't tell you about that, right? Most people that I know who graduated in 4, they had either one singular summer semester or more. Most people are also trying to work while do school. Life is happening. I think the biggest lessons that I learned in college was not educational. Like they were real life lessons that I always say I could have learned for a much cheaper price. But God also had me out of my childhood home for safety and protection, I believe, as well. So trust your journey. Like God has you going down this path for a reason, and you don't need to. And that's if you believe in God. I'm not trying to put any beliefs off on you, but I feel like God has you going down this path for a reason, and I don't feel like you need to feel bad. Like whenever you get done, you'll get done. If you want to stop and take a break and go travel and live life and, do life outside of school, you have every right to do that. If you want to quit and never go back, you have every right to do that. It doesn't make you a failure. Like I'm proud of you for even going. I'm proud of you for even getting this far. I don't think you should let one class like stop you, or one semester stop you. If you need to change schools, change schools. Just keep going. If that's something that you desire, keep going and don't let it, block you. I can bring up a couple of college experiences from mine that tried to deter my graduating period and also on time. But one that I'll think about was I was in accounting. The first year that I signed up, we had this teacher, and over half the class we looked at each other and we said, we're going to fail if we keep her. She's moving too fast, she doesn't explain, and she wasn't really great at answering questions. And I had 2 years of introduction from high school through the finance academy from the high school I went to. And I still was lost when I got to college with that teacher. Over half the class, we dropped. We said, we're going to fail if we stay. So we dropped within the drop period. And I had never dropped a class before. I had always stuck it out, even if it was hard. But that was my first time. I dropped it. I took it a year later with a different teacher that was recommended, and I passed. So sometimes you just have to rearrange, and don't feel like a failure. I didn't feel like a failure because I dropped the class for a first time. I felt smart because I knew I was going to wait and I was going to be in a class where the teacher was going to teach and answer questions, and she did. And it was so nice to see. I didn't have the exact same class, but it was so nice to see a lot of us wait to take the other teacher, and we all did well. So sometimes you just have to make decisions like that. And honestly, forget your friends and family when it comes to that, because they're not doing your work. And I say this respectfully, but they're not doing your work. They don't know the ins and outs. I've had so many people try to tell me, well, college shouldn't have been that bad. I mean, you had some stuff that you can enjoy. Like, do not tell me what my college experience was when I know it. Over half of the people don't really know that journey and what everything consisted of, because I don't talk about it. So when people try to tell me, well, it shouldn't have been that bad, or you could have had this, like, I could barely afford the tuition. You really think I got time to do this and that? And if I did give myself a moment of enjoyment, trust, please believe everything else was already paid for. And I had to pay for it in advance, because where was the money coming from? Exactly. Like, God is good. God kept me and God aligned me. So sometimes this setback isn't, it may feel like a setback, but it may not be a setback at all. It could be a setup for a greater launch. So I just want to say, don't feel bad. And I want to say, I'm proud of you. The BK fam is proud of you. Aren't we proud of this person, guys, for even making it this far? Yay. Yeah, we are. And we're rooting for you. And if there is any other question that you have about college or something, or even if it's not about college, but I know we're talking about college right now and I can help, send it in and I'll try to send you my best advice. And I just want you to know that Mickey is rooting for you. And I pray that you do well in your journey. And please don't get frustrated, because you can go to college at any time. You could be 65 and go to college. Like, and college is not the end all be all. At this point, it is a scam and it is very expensive. That's just my opinion on somebody who graduated from it. Okay. Okay. Next question. If you ever have the chance to reconnect with your bio dad, would you? Um, as of right now, no, I don't really care. I feel like God would have to set it up in a way where it would be meaningful. I also could have this opinion, because I know that 9 out of 10, that stuff, I was going to say something else, that's not going to happen. Like, with the way it's just set up in my life, God would have to make some miracles happen for that to happen. So, am I okay with never reconnecting? Absolutely. I've said this before. I just pray that he never did it to another child like he did it to me. And I pray that he's just a great dad to my sister and his other children. All right. Are you ever going to give us an update on if God told you who your husband was? This is funny. Okay. I feel like the reason this person sent in this question is because you want to know, I mean, besides just to know an update, period, probably about my life, also in that aspect. Also, I feel like a lot of people question if God can really tell you who your spouse was. There are people saying it, but can you really hear him tell you? I will say this. Did he give me an update about being specific about that? No. I've mentioned that if I have the opportunity to share it, if he wants me to share, I will. Other than that, probably not. Here's what I'll say. If you're asking me this question from the perspective of, can God speak to you about on who your spouse is, he absolutely can, and he absolutely will. That's something that I have been headstrong about since I was younger, just seeing the different marriages and stuff that I saw in my family and others. I was too afraid to pick the wrong partner, because I knew how detrimental it would be to your life. I knew how detrimental it would be to see your children watch you not being loved properly, or to watch a parent who's not being loved properly. You get that version of that parent, and that's not even the best versions of themselves. And really, being in a bad relationship affects everybody. Like, you only think about it from your perspective most of the time, but it really affects everyone around you, whether you have kids or not, because then your family either consistently has to see you in pain or consistently hear about you in pain, and then also watch you go back and love the person who's consistently putting you in pain. I've described it so many times. It's like an addict. It's like, put the crack pipe down, put the bottle down. And I'm sure some of them want to, but that's so much easier said than done after trauma bonds are formed and toxicness, everything. You know, I always give that extra description just because I feel like we lack empathy when it comes to stuff like that. So I try to always paint that picture, because you may haven't heard the other episodes where I go into detail about that. So I'll give that little nuance explanation every single time, more than likely. Okay. Okay. But what I will say is God will speak to you about who your spouse is. It's all about timing and when he wants to reveal it. You can trust him to give you an answer. There are other YouTube videos, other people on social media who share their story, everything. What I want to say is that not only will he tell you, how should I word this? Not only will he tell you, you can trust that he'll tell you, but you also may want to be specific, because just because he tells you doesn't mean that that's meant to be your spouse right then and there. It doesn't mean that he won't tell you in advance. And if he tells you in advance and then you have to go through the whole life journey, it can make you doubt, did I actually hear you clearly? Did you really tell me? Or it can be like, yeah, I know you said that's who it was, but I don't believe it, or I don't even want that person. Like, it's a lot. So will he tell you? Absolutely. Do you have to also wait for the right timing? Absolutely. Which means he could tell you buku years in advance and it still not be the right time for you. So you have to wait it out. And it's not always a bad thing. Like, I heard this lady explain on an IG video the other day. She was saying God told her who her spouse was. After God told her who her spouse was, God said, put him down, leave him alone. And she didn't. She said for 8 years off and on, they were dating and kind of going through things, but they cut each other and they bled on each other. And she said God told her who her husband was and he never spoke again. And that can happen too. God can tell you who your husband, because can't say too much. Uh, God will tell you who your spouse was and then he'll go silent. And then I ask questions to God, like, are you sure? Or is this what you meant? Or did I get it wrong? Because I think I've also explained here, Tim Ross, he talked about making sure you verify. I make sure I go back and verify, not just with the spouse questions, but with so many things. Because I just am so afraid to get parenting wrong, to get picking who my spouse is wrong. Like, those decisions you just can't go back on, kind of thing. So I definitely would say that you need to ask for confirmation. Like, even if you hear an answer, make sure it's his voice and not your voice. Try not to get the two confused. Also, the back to the lady, she was saying how God gave an answer, told her his spouse was, didn't speak on it, again, but also told her, leave him alone. She didn't give her another word or whatever. They do end up getting married. Like, God didn't lie. That really was her spouse, but God, all those years later, brought up the conversation and was like, this is why I told you to leave him alone, because you were cut and you dealt with some pains that weren't yours to deal with. Like, I was still tweaking him, I was still tweaking you. And when I was going to bring you guys together, it was going to be at a healthier version of yourself, at a healthier version of himself. But because y'all refused to, well, he didn't say y'all because he spoke to her, but he was telling her because he refused to put him down when I told you to put him down, you got cut along the way of me trying to make him the version of you that you deserved. And that's possible and that can happen. It doesn't mean that it's not your spouse. It just means that easier said than done. But I saw a lot of people in the comments under that video where God has spoken, leave them alone. If God gives you word to leave them alone, it doesn't mean that he's trying to torture you, right? If he told you that's who you're going to be with, but then he says, leave them alone, probably do it so you don't get hurt, right? So you guys don't cut on each other, don't bleed on each other. And then you don't have like so many pains and scars to reflect back on. Like, it doesn't mean you won't go through anything, but it can be a more beautiful process, a more generous and loving process, kind of thing, So just listen to God. Will he tell you who your spouse is? Absolutely. Should you pray about timing? Absolutely. Because he may tell you and then he may never speak about it again. Like, you answer the question, is that your spouse? Sure. When we all be together? Well, I don't know. That's something that you'd have to pray and ask God about. If he tells you to leave that person alone, even after he told you that was your spouse, just listen to that as well, because that's a very important point. You just want to save yourself some pain. God is a good and loving father. I told you, he's the best. He loves us. He wants the best for us. And in order for us to have that, we have to be obedient, even if it may feel painful a little bit to walk away. It's not the case all the time, right? So there is that. And to answer the question more specifically, I'll give an update if I can, and if he wants me to, I'll say that. But other than that, no update on that. Next, how much money should a man spend on a date? I think $300. Does that make me a gold digger? I'm so tired of seeing these debates. I really am. I'm so tired of seeing these debates. Here's what I will say. No, it doesn't make you a gold digger, but at the same time, everybody's pockets is different. This economy is economy, and life is lifing everybody. If you like, look, if that's your limit, date higher. Date a higher tax bracket. Don't be telling me you dating somebody in a lower tax bracket and then get mad when you want shrimp and caviar standards. Date somebody in the shrimp and caviar standards. Otherwise, just let it go, let it be. And if you wanna, and listen, y'all be speaking on people money, okay? Speaking on people's money. And you can't do that. You can't speak on other people's money. So just let it go, let it be, and get to know the person and enjoy them for them. If not, then, date higher. That's all I got to say. I hate when I see stuff like this person should spend this amount of money. Stop pocket watching people. Oh God, I hate people pocket watch because people be trying to pocket watch my money. You can't pocket watch my money. You don't know what I had to spend it on. You don't know what expenses came up. You don't know how I stretched it out. Like, leave me alone. Leave me be, okay? So that goes for women and men. Stop pocket watching each other's pockets. And the amount of time that we take to critique this amount of money that was spent on a date, did you critique, is this person going to be even worth dating? Like, did you even pay attention to that? Or was it just the money that was spent and the things that were done? And dates can be done in the house, right? And I'm not saying go to a person's house if you just met them or whatever, because 9 times out of 10, they're setting you up for sex. Sorry, not sorry. Just, it is what it is. But if y'all have already been talking and to know each other, if y'all feel like y'all have self-control, and that's risky within itself, I'm just saying, because we're human beings, we all like sex. Like, we're sexual beings, okay? And for the people who don't like sex, they're an anomaly. 9 times out of 10, we're sexual beings, we like sex. So be careful with setting yourself up with that. But if we paid as much attention to the actual person and their heart and their qualities versus, did he spend this amount of money, he didn't take me to this super fancy restaurant, like, we could probably pick better. We focused on the wrong shit. We could probably pick better. So does that make you a gold digger? No. But do I think you should focus on the person you're actually dating? Yeah. And if that is a thing for you, no judgment, just date up. And also, when you date up, don't get mad that you slept on a dude who's in a different tax bracket right now. Right now. Because everybody has different ups and down seasons of life. You don't sleep on your husband who may make a little less money right now just because you want shrimp and caviar right now. A little patience and grace is sometimes to get you there. Imagine having the shrimp and caviar that you want with a man that you actually love and like. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And notice I said love and like. Okay. Let's leave it there. But no, I don't think I made you a gold digger, but I think you need to be realistic. Like, if that's your tax bracket, date there and don't complain that you found somebody that you loved in a lower tax bracket. You either going to make a sacrifice and not have your shrimp and caviar right now, but still date them, or just be like, I like you, but maybe I can come back around to you. But to be honest, like, they may be taken, okay? Because they may be with somebody who didn't want $300 dates. And again, it's no judgment. I'm just being brutally honest and realistic. Like, the goal of dating is more so to find a person that you like, not just use a person for experiences. Because if this is the case, you can really take yourself on a $300 date if it's just that deep for a $300 date. But that's just me. Who am I? Last question. Hey, Mickey, my wife and I want to try to spice things up. I have some wild suggestions, but I'm afraid it will turn her off. How should I ask her to spice up our sex life? We also both work and have 3 kids. Congratulations to the family unit and the 3 kids. Also, I will say that make sure you and your wife are on the same page about spicing up your life. I noticed that you went to sexual things. Maybe she could mean sexual things too. I'm not negating that your wife doesn't want to spice things up sexually. Let me address the sexual part first. First, I will say that you guys are husband and wife. Y'all should be nasty, 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 nasty with each other. And I mean nasty like in the best way. What are y'all holding back for? Y'all should be doing any and everything with consent. Be willing to try new things with consent from both parties, men and women. And y'all should just be having a ball. Like, y'all should be having the nastiest, rawest, wettest sex in the world. And if it ain't wet, there are ways to get it wet. I'm just saying. Like, that's what it is. Like, I don't even understand why y'all home back. Like, this should It's gonna be lit when I'm married, okay? Like, no whole bars, nothing is off. And I mean, y'all ain't gotta tell the world. So if it's something that you want to try that's really weird, listen, I was listening to Baby Mama's No Drama a couple of weeks ago. This is about to be TMI, guys. So 3, 2, 1, brace yourself. But I learned just something called iglooing. I've never in my life heard of it. And it's literally shitting in a condom, freezing it, and then using it as a dildo. I think that's utterly disgusting. I'm disgusted by that. I literally want to when I think about it. But some people are out here getting off on that. All right. So if other people are brave enough to not only igloo, but literally announce to the world that they do igloo on a podcast, then by all means, y'all should be open and safe enough with each other to do whatever the hell you want. Because I mean, clearly it gets worse than iglooing, and clearly it gets, there's a spectrum. There's like iglooing, and you can go way freakier than that, or you can go way under that. Just have fun. It's about sharing that wonderful, magical, dope ass experience with your partner in life. I don't think it gets any better than that, right? So there's that. But also check in. If your wife didn't honestly mean to reconnect sexually, maybe she just wanted to change your routine. Or maybe she just wanted to spice it up by something non-sexual. See if she needs more words of affirmation. See if she just wants like a massage and she doesn't want to be penetrated after. Maybe she just wants to feel your hands sensually rub down her body. Maybe she just wants a good makeout session. When is the last time you made out with your wife? I'm just saying. Like, when we think about it, we have probably shouldn't be doing this as kids, but think about kids. I mean, kids start young. Let's just be honest. I don't need the parents in denial. Y'all know what y'all were doing, so don't be surprised when your kids do it, or worse. Just saying. The kids make out. Kids have fun. They kiss each other. A lot of times you get old and stuffy and you just want to peck. Make out. Feel on each other. Make it sexy. Make it fun. Have a good time. But then also, everything doesn't have to lead to penetration. So see if she just wants a change in routine, or see if she wants something that is like sexy time, but without the job of penetration. I love penetration, but that also takes a lot of work. Okay. And maybe she's tired. We've talked about people and women, especially when they're overstimulated. There's the job, there's the kids, there's the store runs, the errands. Everybody's pulling on you from every direction, blah, 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 blah. If she's overstimulated, how about do something to relax her? Right? Smoke a blunt with her if y'all smoke. Have a glass of wine. I'd recommend the blunt over the wine. One is poison, one is natural. I'm just saying. But do what you do. Have what you like. Maybe y'all can just chill out with your favorite food. Put some music on. Just chill out. Go sit in nature. Just sit in silence. Maybe y'all are both overstimulated and y'all just want some silence, but in the presence of each other. That's possible, right? So check in and see what ways does she want to spice it up. That way, it's not just automatically sex. And if it is sex, y'all should be out here having the nastiest, freaky, deakiest, wettest, most fantastic sex ever. And if it ain't there yet, have fun experimenting to figure out how to get it done. Okay. So that was my final question. And I wanted to do this episode a lot better and be a lot more intentional with you guys. But your girl is busy and I got to get back to packing. I know. But I love you guys. And I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. Hopefully I'm done moving. Everybody in the BK fam, fingers crossed. Hopefully I'm done moving because I'm tired of this shit. And I love you guys. And I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. All right, guys. Bye.
Topic, yeah, but we gon' talk about something on the mental, on the mind, weighing heavy. Society with the levies, kinda deadly. Silent killer, hard to daddy. Most killers had no daddy. Sadly, that's just what it be in my community. We got no unity. Dark skin wanna ruin me. I'm speaking fluently, so just listen. Blank canvas, blank canvas, blank canvas. Blank canvas.